Hello and welcome to today's historic best of three deck. Hi, cat. Jesus Christ. Oh, you're adorable, Goober. Anywho, thank you all for watching today's historic best of three deck tech and gameplay video on update to Green Black, or Golgari, Elves. This list does exactly what you would think from the name. It is a mostly green with a little bit of black sprinkled in deck that cares about elves. Generally, the elf payoffs are your elves get bigger. Example. Let's see. Let's get an okay one. Hi. For example, Leaf Crown Visionary. A 2-mana elf guy that cares about elves, both in the fact that it gives your other elves a buff, otherwise known as a lord, and you can also pay a green when you cast an elf to draw a card to ensure you have gas in a deck like this. Also things like Elvish Clan Caller, which is a little more, what's the word, straightforward. It's just a lord that can search for the other lords that are also called it. We also have, what's the other elf payoffs that aren't necessarily board based, if that makes any sense. Example, Shaman of the Pack lets you go over the top. Now, some can make an argument that Shaman of the Pack could be a creator hoof and the deck will probably be better, and I don't even necessarily disagree with it. I just like to make more interesting things. Also have cards like Elvish, not Elvish Warmaster, Priest of Titania, and also Elvish Archdruid as ways to generate more mana from all the elves you control, letting you cast more elves. And more elves mean more damage mean more win. Very simple. We also have some card draw elves. Realm Walker, which is card draw, quote unquote. Skimfar is actual card draw. And I'm going to include the new Morkant's Loyalist as not only just, a fine elf lord that also buffs your dudes, but also gets you back an elf when it dies. Beyond all of the elves, we also have Collected Company, since loads of the elves that you would want to run anyway in a really aggressive list like this are all good Collected Company hits, and it functionally gives, like every elf in the deck, which is all of the creatures in the deck, flash and or haste in an abstract way. Land base, pretty simple. Just play lands that can come into play on turn 1. We have 10 1-drops, and in a magical, well, not even a magical. In most circumstances, you'll want to play a 1-drop on 1, a 2-drop on 2, and sort of, curve out and just apply pressure as early on as you can get it. To do that, you need lands that can come into play untapped early on. So I have Overgrown Tombs. I don't know what to call these. The draw lands, for lack of a better word. Cavern of Souls, nice mana fixing, and also the occasional counterspell that's floating around. Cavern of Souls is a great way to deal with that. Do have some Fell the Profanes and a couple Disciple of Freyleys. Since the deck is so all in on going just a really aggressive with like creatures and all elves that really only, apply damage, any bits of utility you can get in a land base is nice. Example, Fell the Profane can give you removal. Peatland can draw you cards. Disciple can draw you cards. That sort of thing. And then just a bunch of forest because the deck is mostly green. Sideboard, also pretty self-explanatory. Bitter Triumph, because sometimes you just need to remove a thing. You just do. Heroic Intervention, to protect your board from sweepers or interaction, of which, if anybody is in Historic and has a brain, will run sweepers if they have them. Ooze for some graveyard hate, although I know there's the new Changeling that you could run that is in green that came out, that is also a more budget-friendly option and would also trigger all the elf stuff. I like Scavenging Ooze, but your mileage will vary. Just run the one you like. Necromantia for combo decks, because there's the occasional combo deck floating around. Tainted Remedy for life gain. Reclamation Sage for artifact and enchantment hate on an elf body that is also a Collected Company hit. So everything we want. 2 Crippling Fears for a one-sided board wipe. It's almost always one-sided because not often do you see a whole lot of elf decks. The most you might see are like Land of War Elves or Elvish Mystics in like green-based devotion list. And a couple Tramiel, the Inner Sun, not only to give us more counterspell redundancy, but also discover is a way to get extra card draw if you need it against like black-based discard stuff. Or just you feel like you need more card draw for whatever reason you could think of. And that is the list. Again, play Elves, buff Elves, go wide with Elves, go over the top, or just run your Elves into your opponent's face. Very simple, old school classic. And honestly, it might not be like the most popular deck or like, you know, the top tier of decks, but this is actually one that's like, honestly, pretty much is just as strong as it was the last time I did an update. Having some new Elves does help to sort of... It hasn't gotten stronger, but things like Morkant's Loyalist have helped it keep its place. So it hasn't gained ground, but it hasn't lost ground, if that makes any sense. With all that out of the way, don't forget to like the video. If you like it, subscribe. If you like my grab bag of combo... subscribe if you like my grab bag of videos and would like to see more. And if you have any sort of questions like, I don't have X card, what about Y card, or other generally nice or constructive comments, I'll do what I can to respond to what I see. With all that out of the way, we'll finally go on to game number 1. And game number 1 with our little green-black Elves list. And now we just wait for our opponent to make the choice they were always going to make and go first, because most people have a brain. There we go. And honestly, this is pretty good. 3 lands, 4 spells, Elvish Archdruid on 2, and a Collected Company on 3. Mono Green Devotion can be a little weird, but you can still make it work. Land Ward. Yeah, this is one of those decks where you kind of have to go so wide. Basically, you're both racing. Just how your how do I word this? How your race is getting paid off is a little different, if that makes any sense at all. I guess we'll do Garden. Go ahead and go for the Archdruid. Let's see here. Kiora? No, I was expecting maybe now Kiora. Big green scary dude. Oh, Karn. Oh, it's one of those deeply unpleasant decks that runs what's that fucking artifact called? Liquid metal coating, I think. And it, like, makes your lands into artifacts, and then your artifacts into creatures, and because creatures have... Oh, it's Portal. Okay, that's not what I expected. Does that change what we're doing here? Let's see. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 up to 8. Yeah. I think we'll do an Archdruid. This way we should, in theory, kill the Karn guaranteed. Don't love... like, what's the word? Not going face where we can, but this is a list where, if we're just going to keep it a buck, Mono Green Devotion is just better than Golgari Elves. It just is. I say this about a lot of decks, and I'll say it even more. This deck is better, but Jesus fucking Christ, is it so boring to see all the time. And it's been, what, like 7, 8 days since the ladder reset? I thought I was done seeing this thing. It would have climbed back up to the higher ranks and wouldn't have to deal with it for another month, but I guess we're not all going to get what we want here. Which is mighty unfortunate. Let's think about the game, too. Because we're just going to try and go wide. That part of our plan hasn't really changed. And then he still has enough manage for Portal. It's whatever. There's no point. I'm not engaging it. Cool. Take your win and go. Borehole. Let's see. The deck is... Oh my god. Oodles, Canoodles, and Toasters. Doodles are boring. So, Reclamation Sage. Coming in. Priest is silly. No amount of board is ever going to live long enough. And I guess maybe Heroic Intervention. We can cut down like a Collected Company. Maybe a Realm Walker. This is one of those. we don't win this in the long term, so there's no point in like trying to like for like the sake of the realm walk getting cut, and even the priest of Titania, why it's getting cut. Really, that works for like mid game power spikes, and let's be honest, their mid game power spike is just better than ours. Oh fuck! Do I keep? I go first. I have a 1-drop on 1. I can do a visionary on 2 if I don't draw a land. I'm going to keep this even though if you're watching at home, I know I probably shouldn't. We're going to be honest, it's an irresponsible keep, but because I have things to do on turn 2 and I can still kind of curve out, I'm going to like run with it. Give me a land. Thank the Lord. In that case, I think we're going to, as opposed to go for... Hang on. Gotta manually tap. They get the Leaf Crown. We're going to try and go for damage early on and just force them to make, like, weird blocks. Going for the Elvish Archdruid, not for the mana it can produce, but for the board pressure it can provide. And I'd rather be able to, like, make immediate use of said, like, board. What a surprise. Oh boy, my opponent's really pulling out all the stops for this. Yeah, I guess Archdruid. All that being said, I mean, if we can make use of the... What am I doing? Go face. We lose this game going long anyway. I made a comment about how we're not, like, worried necessarily about the Archdruid's mana-producing ability, but I'm not, like, so silly that I'm gonna, like, spit in the face of it and, like, try and make some sort of moral stand that I'm not gonna use it. That's silly. Not gonna lie, a land would be cool. Untapping for some shenanigans. Why? Okay, that makes a little more sense. Disciple works. No point worrying about your life total. God, the fact that you have to pay life for this land absolutely borks the auto tapper. Has no goddamn idea what to do. I don't want to draw. Yeah, I'm just gonna go face. Accept the fact that we lose this game in the long run. I have to be honest, if you couldn't tell, my loathing from my commentary. If I wasn't recording, there is a genuinely very high chance that I would have just immediately hard scooped. I don't like this deck at all. It's so boring. Again, I'm not like so foolish that I'm gonna like say it's not good, because it is. What should do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Yeah, probably another. Yeah, I don't care. Who am I kidding? I'm trying to like sit here and invest this. Like it's gonna terribly matter. Okay, they're. I mean, okay, yeah, Nissa is one I've seen, yes, but it's a little weird to have Nissa and Karns, but okay. That's cool. Yep. Do what you gotta do. Who am I kidding? I actually don't have to. I made my whole spiel that it's a better list. And I'm already strapped for time to record anyway, so like accept the loss. I'll say this forever. Like, deck is good, but I'd rather be boring and have fun than good and have no fun, if that makes any sense. On to the second game, of which you will not see another repeat of a green-based devotion deck. I try really hard not, even if I have like very little time to record in moments like this, I'll make it an especial, what's the word? I'll especially make a point to make sure you do not see another list like this, and you'll see like an actual game. Now, on to that said game number 2. And game number 2 with our little green-black elves list. And this is another really good one. I mean, it's 2 spells and 5 land, but we have mana dorks and things to do. Yeah, peat land. Luckily, the game has no choice but to tap it, but be careful if you use these draw lands. The auto-tapper's brain explodes when you have to pay life for a land. Psychic. I have not seen this in a hot minute. Good on our opponent, unironically. Go ahead and do Elf. No point in attacking, because he can discard as many... Is it any card? Yeah. You can discard as many cards as he wants to. I'm not gonna... Yeah, yeah, especially if you're running a deck with Psychic Frog, odds are you already want to be discarding shit to begin with. So I don't think they would actually scoff at the idea of, like, pitching potentially a whole hand just to keep it out of my hands. I'm sorry? Ah, fucking boring-ass Tarmogoyf cards. Card should have stayed dead a long-ass time ago. I don't care. Just it's cool. There's a reason why the actual Tarmogoyf is hot fucking garbage, and it, like, belongs in a museum. The only reason why these things are even remotely fucking good because they're pushed for Commander. It's, like, fine. Because you were never gonna get, like, Tarmogoyf to be good ever again. That card's time in the sun is long gone. By evidence, the fact, even in lists, this is a weird one, where they're, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this goofy-ass list is running the red one also. But even in, like, Boomer Jund list, even they don't fucking run actual Tarmogoyf, because that card's hot garbage. What am I doing with the rest of my mana before I sit here and... Wait, I can attack. What am I... zero... Well... Is it creature... Is it card type that's in there? Yeah, card type. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. He's going to have to dunk cards to it. You would imagine he's going to... Well, if he dumps one card, it'll get rid of the Goyf, I guess. Because if he has a brain, he dumps one card at a minimum. Of course, he could dump more to make the Goyf live. But if he just dumps one card and manages to, like, yeah, buff its power at all, it makes the trade. To his credit, he's smart and has cards with multiple creature types to do the thing. Yeah. If we're going to be honest, this has kind of been, like, Elves, like, feel. I did make this whole spiel in the deck tech about how, like, it sort of kept its power level. But if I'm being honest... Yeah, fucking goofy-ass fucking card. Sure, whatever, dude. What was I saying? Yes. If I'm being honest, I was trying to be, like, really positive, because I'm gonna be honest, I've had not a lot of fun, no blocks, with Magic or Hearthstone of late, so, like, I've been taking several days off. But if we're being honest, like, you don't see any tribal/typal list anymore. Because the format isn't that. It's like Modern Horizons 3 cards and, like, cards that have multi-format success. Yeah, it's like it's like Commander stuff that's pushed. Yeah, it's a, well, let me rephrase that. Like, I could sit here and him and haw. I don't care. Take the win. Get away from me. The format level, power level has just been pushed out to where, like, cute kitchen table decks like this don't really, like, work even a little bit anymore. Like, they'll get you, like, a below... I've said this before in a couple of videos. Hang on, Bit of Triumph goes in. Clan Callers are hot garbage. Does not really matter. Sure, a couple Heroics, I guess. I don't kind of care. Yeah, like... I've said this before in previous videos, and this is kind of true of, like, really any typal deck. Just none of them really work well. But the way that the ranking system works in Magic, a below-average deck in the hands of an above-average pilot, which, like, I am an above-average pilot. I'm above average in skill. I just am. You don't play more games than, like, 70% of people. Anywhere from 70 to 90% of people depending on the month, and like you're not that level of good. Am I like, you know, world champion good? No. All that to be said, below average power deck in the hands of an above average pilot, because of the way of they sort of cancel out. So a deck in those circumstances will get 2 platinum here, which is the middle ground, but because then the ranking system sort of, what's the word, levels out, it can't really get above this particular rank. Format is just sadly just not in a place where like a deck like that works anymore. And I would love for that not to be the case, but it just is. You don't even see like explosive things like goblins anymore. It's just like, you know, just all got pushed out. But as a result, because there's nothing I can talk about at this point in the game. As a result, like, my enjoyment of both games I play, because Hearthstone has a similar level of problem, they've, like, not been that fun to me. So you're probably going to see more ambient videos, because I can enjoy those a little bit more. And they're, like, what's the word? They require an ask less of, like, my mental state. I just get to vibe with them. Blah, 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 blah. What? The most he can do is he's going to cast an instant. It's actually not worth losing this board. It's just not. I'd rather keep all the mana producers and hope we find something off a land. Or we can just crack the draw land if we need to. He still plays whatever spell he was going to play, because he wants the Nethergorth to get big. The cat's out of the bag. Like, it's the only way a deck like this works. That's interesting. The self-mill's almost cute. But of course, there's some Nethergorths and some pushed-ass commander / and or in the case of the actual Nethergorth, fucking Modern Horizons 3 power crap shit. It just like pushes it out. And it's just like, yeah. It's a thing. You know, it resolves and they're allowed to do it, but my god. Shaman of the Pack, get out of here. Find me something big. Or at least fucking somewhat useful. Archdruid, that'll work. We'll don't do that. Again, game brain melt when pay for land. I'm actually going to keep their heroic intervention. We're in a okay spot. What's the weird payoff for this fucking thing? Creature deals combat damage to a player. You may mill that many cards. If you do, creature card among them hand. Cool. So it's just the red one that gives removal. But he can play it. He's got 4 mana. And this is why we keep open the heroic intervention. Almost. I mean, if he has a brain, he probably gets rid of the Archdruid. That's the most damage. But this is why we bring in the intervention. Will this be enough to, like, live? We shall see. Or, like, you know, to do anything with? Actually, we might kind of be there. Math is for blockers. Math, yeah, just. Okay, block the big thing on my board, 5/5. Blocks that with maybe the Barrow-Goyf. So he's gonna stop what, like 13 damage, 13 gain 3, deals 16, 16. Yeah, 3 for 1. I will see. We might stand a chance here. It's possible. We have enough of our board retained or not. So he proceeds to just pick it apart. Coolio! That might actually be the end of it, because I don't think I come back from that. Smart in the way he targeted it, to his credit. Made the correct on-paper decision all day, every day. The only out we have is if we find another Shaman of the Pack, or if he attacks with everything. That'd be silly. Yeah, if we find the other Shaman of the Pack, that might actually be what we need to live here. can actually genuinely pull out a win, even though they don't deserve it at this stage. In the meantime, land, crack, find literally anything. Elvish Warmaster is not it. Yeah, just the reality. I tried to be all upbeat and positive about the deck tech of it, and I wasn't lying in that moment. I believe that when I said it. But this is one of those, like, yeah, I want so bad for tribal decks to work. And that's really all Lorwyn is. Because Avatar saw no cards enter the format fucking at all. So that was an entire whiff set. Lorwyn, unless, as far as I'm aware in my own personal experience, has not had a single fucking card matter at all. But Lorwyn's always been like a very tribally typally or kindred or whatever you want to call it, focused plane. That's probably okay for standard, and of course for commander. There's lots of fun for that. But if you're playing historic like this guy, we're just not in a stage of Magic where like tribal decks in any eternal format that's even quasi competitive, i.e. not fucking commander. They just don't work. I want them to work, and I can have fun with them, even though it doesn't sound like I'm having fun in this moment, because if we're being honest, I did not have fun with these particular games, and that's fine. But what I mean by that is, like, during testing, or if I'm just playing and having fun and all that, like, I can enjoy them. But, like, if you want an even sort of kind of okay deck that might maybe climb... Hello, sweet dog. Don't touch this list. Goober. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Dog, relax, you're fine. Don't forget to subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more of it in the future. You're kind of gumming up the works, Goober. And if you have any sort of questions, as long as they're somewhat constructive or nice, I'll do what I can to respond to what I see. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.